Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Lonely villain. Scooby-Doo, I can see you bending down the river. Girl, I can see you running away. And that's because Vincent Deporter is here. He's done Scooby-Doo comics before, and I became friends with him about a year ago, and I've been wanting to get him on my channel for a long time, and finally we were able to do it. Why don't you tell us all about yourself, Vincent?
Well, I was born, and one day I'll die. That's my story. Actually, yeah, I've been doing comic books and cartoons for 41 years now. So it's been a long ride. I started in Europe, in France in particular, in Belgium, where I have my own series. And then, you know, in the later mid-90s, I started working for DC Comics and Nickelodeon. So I did Scooby-Doo, I did Batman, Superman animation. I did, not the animation itself, but the style. Style guides. I did the Rugrats for Nickelodeon. And then they called me one day to show me the first episodes unaired of SpongeBob. So I was the first one to draw SpongeBob with, to ink him. And Scott Roberts did the pencils. And we were the first ones to draw SpongeBob at least a year before it was on TV. So that was a lot of fun. We were doing SpongeBob, you know, and we had a lot of fun with it. I still have fun with it, but unfortunately, the comic book this month, it's going to be the last issue. Unfortunately, some people know that Hillenberg, the creator, is sick. I mean, and he's fatally sick, unfortunately. So the comic book stops, but the show continues. Right now, I'm trying to write my first episode, you know, whether it's accepted or not. I've been doing screenplays for more than 10 years now. So for fun, more than anything else. I write all my comic books.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it's easier to cut up, you see.
Yeah.
So, I have always worked screenplay mode. And so we'll see what happens, you know. In the meantime, I have what we call a day job, but for me, it's more than a day job. I went through training and everything to become a child provider. I work with children with difficulties, autism in particular.
Make sure you give me that link for that, and I'll put it in my description.
Yeah, it's I work with families, so there's no link to anything particular except for the state, because it's a state that pays me.
Gotcha.
So I could link you to the state if you want.
Sure.
But I work with kids, a family that is absolutely fabulous. I love them with all my heart, and it's the most rewarding work I've ever done, because it's directly, you know, you see a little bit of progress or a connection with the kids that you end up loving like your own kids, you know.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
that's beautiful. And on top of that, I'm almost finished writing my first stand-up in America.
That's
So
gonna be great.
it's really fun. I found a great venue. It's called the Stir Crazy Comedy Club. It's in not in Phoenix itself, but it's in Glendale. It's a beautiful little venue to work in, and the people who work there are fantastic. And I hope I make people laugh. The giggle. Not, I'll get a lot of tomato sauce for my for my pasta if they throw rotten tomatoes at me. So we'll see. It's a little bit of different kind of stand-up. I'm inspired by the European stand-up, so it's more character playing, and I use my cartoon voices to create different characters and stuff. So it's going to be fun.
I have a tough time being myself. I'm shy anyway. I got a little bit of stage fright, but if I ever get over that, I'd do improv though.
Yeah. I would like to do improv again. I used to, but I'm a ham, so I have no fear on stage, except before I start. It's funny. I start getting the willies before I get on stage, and then once I hit the stage, I'm fine. But what's really weird with me is when I leave the stage, I get stage fright. Like, did I do well enough? You know, kind of thing. Really getting stage fright once I leave the stage after I've finished doing all my silly stuff. So it's weird. I can contain myself on stage, but before and especially after, I totally get stage fright. It's weird. It's what it is.
Yeah, this is really stage fright though. I mean, where I had it was
It's it's uncertainty. It's not being sure that you've done well. Uh,
yeah. Well, I've been there. I've
yeah.
gotten performed before, but
I've
yeah,
played since I'm 5 years old, so I've always been a stage lover. I did some movies in France, short movies and stuff. I hated being on a movie set because you have to wait. It's not what I love about the stage, live stage, is that you get a direct response, whether it's a boo or a laugh. Uh, you can fit. You know, like if you're, because what happens is that when you write a good skit that you think is going to be funny, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You're going to take it off for the next show, right? But
yeah,
you're going to ad lib a little bit. And when you ad lib, some of your ad libbing will become really funny. People will love it. And you keep that for the next show. So your show really builds after a few times. Your show gets better. That's why when you see a stand up, it's always good to see him after a few times, um, because he or she will fine tune as they go. You know?
yeah. I mean, everybody's different too. I mean, we know that. we've had enough dialect with people that we understand that there's a lot of different people out there. That's for sure.
So there, that's a little bit everything. I'm also doing a new series for France. Hopefully, it's a really cool series. It's so cool that I'm thinking, I'm not sure I'm going to do it for France. I might do it, present it to Nickelodeon as a cartoon, or maybe Cartoon Network. I'm not sure. It's kind of a Stranger Things. It's not at all like Stranger Things, but it has that, you know, kids and stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I was bringing that chat back up there. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I don't see the chat. I could, right?
Yeah, you just go on. Just make sure you mute it when you get there to just open up. Go to my channel and look at the live stream that's going on there.
But anyways, I see your stuff. I mean, I hear your music. You're doing great stuff. I mean, I like what you do. And sorry that I'm not more present on the internet.
Everybody gets their own life thing. Whatever. I've been got so many contracting jobs now that I haven't had time to do anything videos, and it's hurting me on getting people on my views or whatever. But yeah, what can you do?
I do portraits for people like on a personal basis. So people inbox me on Facebook. They say I'd like to do a portrait of my son for his birthday or stuff, and I enjoy doing that. And you know, I don't get paid very much. I mean, I ask for $50 for a black and white portrait, but I usually give it all I can, and you know, and people are happy with it, and I love doing that. And you can see some of my stuff on Instagram. You know, Instagram Vincent Deporter, and you'll see some of my stuff. I did Paul McCartney and people like that. So.
I remember you Sacred Cows. That's one thing that I put up on that thumbnail there with Seth Andrews. For Seth Andrews, there you did some of that, didn't you?
Yes, I worked with Seth Andrews. I still every time he has something to illustrate, he often calls me, and I love Seth. And I just did a horror stories, ghost stories with him, and which is funny because neither him or I believe in ghosts, but the stories are cool, scary, and I illustrate them. So that was a little departure on the more atheist stuff, you know. I'm trying to detach myself a little bit more from the pure atheism community, which I usually I get along better with theists than I do with atheists most of the time, because I don't like arrogance, and sometimes theists are arrogant, but a lot of atheists are also arrogant. So I try to detach myself from that. What I believe is that people should believe what they believe sincerely, and whether it's true or not, if it makes them happy and it doesn't bother anybody else, why not? You know.
Well, that's just it there. I mean, when it gets into the government part of it, that's where.
Yeah.
Or actually, if it gets into science and
yeah, I mean, I definitely I'm more science based, but science is not perfect. That's why I am science based. You know, my motto is this: if I start debating with somebody that tries to debate my non-belief, I always say, look, let's be honest here. I don't know, but neither do you.
Yeah, that's just it, isn't it?
What we know is so trivial. Yes, we know enough to drive on roads and act coherently to try to avoid accidents, which doesn't always it's not always successful, but at
No.
least we have trivial knowledge of what, physics, of what laws are, and we all share the same reality. Whether we understand that reality or not, we all share it. That's what it is. Some people call reality in nature God. I don't have a problem with that. If they call it God, I don't think, I think it's a loaded word, but so what? I mean, the fact is we share all a reality. Anything beyond the empirical is, it's what we believe, because I always have this a priori where I think people are sincere. When they say they believe this, they truly believe it. And when they debate against what other people believe, they do it sincerely. Sometimes they act like assholes, but that's, I did that too. I mean, I was a major asshole. I might still be, but I have changed my tune, because the tone of my tune, because I believe that we all arrive to conclusions in earnest. And we could be wrong, we could be right. If we're open to correction, though, that's a good, mature way to do things. Anything I believe in today, anything I'm convinced with today, can be, changed upon better information, evidence, or whatever. But I don't try to preach to others anymore. I used to.
Yeah.
Mhm. So that changed too. So I concentrate on my human relationships, and working with children is just, I was going to use the word blessing. It is, it's a blessing. um, it's I'm lucky to have a great career. I'm not a celebrity or anything, but I have a good career that paid my bills, and, got my children to Disneyland and so forth. Um, so, we don't have to ask much. I live very simply today. I rent a room in a family's house. So I own no apartment. I own no house. I used to have 3 houses. I own nothing except for my car that I bought, cash with one of the house that were sold. That one of the houses that was sold. I don't want anything. I'm not. I'm not, wishing to have something like, oh, this came out. I want this car. I want this thing. Or I don't have wants so much. I have needs, and I try to fill those needs. And my main thing is my kids. Otherwise, for me, the lighter my backpack of life, the better it is for me.
There's something to be said about the happy meter that we all have. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we'll take nothing with us when we die.
if you're happy,
Yeah.
what else is
I'm
there?
happy. I'm look. I'm not ha happy. I'm not like I'm happy.
I am.
I'm not happy. I'm just satisfied with what I have. I don't need anything more. If I get a little more, it's like it's great, but I don't want to pack on in my backpack. I want to be more. For me, the rich part of me, what I call riches, is your relationship with others. To help others.
Yeah.
I can only eat so much. If I have more money, why not help others that don't have enough?
Uh, I guess I'm on the camp of there shouldn't be any billionaires. I don't think
Yeah,
that's.
me too. I don't see the point. You see,
Yeah.
I can't right now. I don't have insurance, medical insurance. My daughter does from her mom, but you see, neither of us can pay for her her tonsils surgery. So I had, for the first of my life, I put my pride away, and I put a GoFundMe for my daughter's tonsillectomy. Is that what we call it? I'm not sure. But it's $5,000. I can't pay for that. So I I didn't want to do a GoFundMe. I see people do GoFundMe's for um, for any kind of thing that's, I find it a little bit. So I was ashamed to ask for money, but at one point it's about my daughter, so I put my pride away, and I put on a GoFundMe.
You can't. You can't.
If you put any link down, that's the one I want. It's my
Yeah,
daughter's.
I mean, you
I
can't.
she's missing school because of chronic strep throat, and she's 17. I want her to get help, and her insurance refuses to do so. So that's the battles of life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The universe, as far as I've seen so far, it's pretty dynamic. So
Yeah,
What
it's
can
it's chaos. You know, planets are born, they explode, supernovas. We have hurricanes, as we just saw. We have tornadoes. We have the Earth doesn't care. Nature doesn't care about us. Uh, we should care about nature,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
unfortunately, humanity is not doing a good job at that right now.
No, it's about the greed and all that.
Yeah, it's
That's
about
pretty much
profit, and it's about profit today. I mean, you look at the politics today. It's about making money today. It's not about helping
yeah.
the third generation, for example, right?
Yeah,
Or
I mean, yeah, we're just kicking a can down the road, and that's
yeah,
cliche, but whatever,
it's
it's
all
yeah.
about and it's all about money, money, money. Like ABBA used to sing, money, money, money.
I think
So,
it's hard for us to conceptualize the exponential growth that populations and all that has too. I mean, well, we hit a billion in the population, 18 whatever, and
yeah.
first time we hit a billion, and then just in 100 years we're up to 7 billion. So yeah,
When we turned
exponential.
a teenager, we were only 3 billion.
Yeah, be at 14 billion, double. What is it? Exponential would double every 10 years, I believe.
So, like I put on my Facebook yesterday or this morning, yesterday, we better start uniting.
Yeah.
We better start holding hands. I think we should have a party that's called either the Demopublican or the Republic, the Republicarats, a third party that would reunite the people of goodwill of each party instead of
Yeah.
fighting like children, like kindergartens. Kids. We should hold hands and unite and try to find a way to fix the problems we have. But we're not there yet. The greed and corporate America is killing us.
It is. It is. When it's a system set up that they're by
Yeah,
law they have to make profit.
yeah.
That's what's happening. They
They,
even
the problem is not they don't care about the public. They care about those who
being the black.
yeah.
Gotta be black.
You have to
It's all perpetual debt. That's how the money's acquired. So it's eventually. If we don't have population doesn't increase enough, we won't be able to get enough into the economy. So.
Exactly. Personally, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there is such a thing as the system that has made us slaves of this system.
Yeah.
And it's not one person that is to be blamed. It's the way it is, and I think so. It's a sad state of affairs. But people of goodwill, like you and I, and so many other people, we are trying to learn how to live together in unity. There's the Me Too movement that has created a more we now see the problem that women face in workplace or other. They are starting to talk now. It's about time, I think, for them. But I understand that it's not easy to talk. So, we're starting to see a change. I remember when I was in Paris, I used to work pretty much with what we call the French Parisians Hollywood, which is a movie business. And the things that we learned from Weinstein, that's exactly how it was. I was appalled to see that it was so degenerate. And so it didn't respect women at all, especially if they're young women, even worse. So, and the girls, they want to have their success in Hollywood, in the cinema business, and producers would take advantage of them. It was disgusting. And so, now people start to talk. And
Brian Stevens says the fact is the only way to make money off the poor is keep them poor, and
yeah, that's true. That's what we see right now.
I think George Carlin said this, but it's the rich convince the middle class people that the poor are evil. That's how they perpetuate everything.
I miss George Carlin a lot.
Yeah, I know. What a loss, huh?
He's one of my inspirations. I think he's just amazing. And at the end of his life, I thought, wow, his skits are becoming very bitter. And now that I listen to them again, they were true, though. It might have been more bitter, but it was truth,
It could have been your bias back then too. A little bit on that. Yeah, I think he's always kind of had sort of that little bit of what do you call it, sarcasm to it.
Yeah. He used to, like we say, he kicked the shit.
Yeah.
He made a splash all over the place.
It's such a rhythm to his routine too. It's just bang, bang, bang. Everything came out fast. You know, it's like, yeah.
It's like Bill Hicks had a very up and down career, but his famous skit on "Life Is a Ride" was amazing. It was just, I thought his stuff was good. It wasn't always good, but what was good from Bill Hicks was really good. Um, some people we lose some people, and there's new comics that come out, and I try not to be political or religious, or I'm more a physical comedy guy, so it's silly, and some people will hate it, and I'll get some views. I know that.
That's kind of what I'm gearing my channel for, is trying to be comedy on it. I want to laugh at it, and
Right.
I want to laugh at life.
It's true. You gotta laugh at life.
Yep.
Life is a very difficult thing, my friend.
It is.
Laugh at it. Ha ha ha.
No doubt, huh?
That's how it ends. We cry, but yeah. So it's just fun, to make fun of what we. It's like I have chronic pain. If I don't make fun of that, what am I going to do? Wake up and go, oh my God, it hurts so much. No, you try to make fun of it.
Well, that's a wicked one too, and they don't really know what to do about it. Is it? I just really don't know how to. That's where the nerve, when it keeps on saying that it hurts, right?
Yeah, it's like your feet feel numb. Like if you step on something like a Lego, it doesn't hurt right away, but then it starts really hurting.
Yeah. Okay.
And your feet feel like you're numb. Like, when your foot is asleep, because you crisscross your legs, whatever. Yeah. It's like that, but at the same time, it's like 1,000 little knives that just, jab you nonstop. And this has been going on for almost 20 years for me. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And now it's going up to almost my knees. It's like, it's just like, poison ivy just goes up your legs, And my legs are all blotchy, I can't flirt anymore with any.
One of my classmates, she's got to go for me. She's got that the chronic pain like that. It's in her elbow. She got an injury in her elbow, and it just acts up all the time, and the pain never goes away. And I don't know what that is.
But you get it's very weird. If I woke up tomorrow morning and I had no pain, I would be kind of scared. I think I was dead. Because you get kind of used to it. And I'm not saying it's pleasant. It's just that you get used to it. Because you have to get used to it. I don't know if this is weird to hear, but it's almost you have to be friends with your pain,
Yeah.
As weird as it may sound.
I'm pretty tolerant to pain myself. But of course, I hurt myself so much when I'm on my job. So
yeah. A lot of people know pain, and it's never fun, but you can live with it.
Yeah.
I make the kids laugh. There's a lot of things that will cover it up. You distract yourself from the pain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Either you play music, you watch a movie, and then all of a sudden it really hurts, and you find something else to distract yourself from.
I think I would have been sitting in an asylum with no shoelaces and a straitjacket on if it wasn't for music. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I can see on your screen your drums. I didn't know you played drums too.
I've dabbled in a little everything.
Yeah.
I had a violin here for a while, but that's a little different than some.
Yeah, I play keyboards and a lot of different instruments, but I'm not good at drums. And my main instrument is guitar, of course, electric and folk and classic. I have ideas for songs, and unfortunately, the ones you hear online are the same old.
Me and he's about 10 years younger than me, 12 years younger than me, but we're gonna do a couple things with my songs that I wrote. So.
Cool. Yeah, I have a band in New York that's pretty well known. They're called the Velmas. They're really good, and they're pretty well known out there, and even here. And they want to cover one of my songs. I hope they do. It'd be nice.
Cool.
So
I haven't been to New York yet. Damn it! I gotta get out there.
I miss New York. I love the urban jungle that it is. New York City, that is. I lived in Brooklyn, but I would work in New York. I was on Times Square because across the street from the Ed Sullivan Theater, there's on 53rd Street, there's DC Comics, and on 42nd on Times Square, there's a Nickelodeon. There was Nickelodeon there. I think they moved, but there's MTV. There's all that stuff. So it's a lot of fun there. It's great.
How does your day go when you're? I'm sorry, I'm kind of changing topics here, but going back to the comic thing. When you're well, how's your day go at work when you're doing that? When you're working?
Well, I work in the afternoons with the children. So all morning I work on my cartoons, comics, writing, and I come back home at around 7. By then I'm pretty tired because, of course, it's very physical too. And I just kind of plop on my chair and I either write a little bit or I just watch the news and then something on Netflix or something like that. And I go to bed.
Keep on pushing yourself to write. Then that's one of my things. I'm ADD or something. I get lost in it.
I don't know. Right? I have to push myself to draw. Myself. I said myself. I push myself to draw. But I never push myself to write. It's funny. It's always something that comes naturally. I sometimes block, but then I start writing stupid things and I get back on track. It was Dick Brown, the guy who did Hagar the Horrible, that said once,
"Okay,
start writing your grocery list and start goofing off on that." And he said in 10 minutes you're back on track. So, and it's true. You can avoid the stress of the white page, like we say. So it comes rather naturally to me. When I draw, I have to prime it. I sometimes doodle. I end up doodle 2 hours, and I still have just a half an hour to draw. But to draw, I love drawing. Don't get me wrong, but it's an effort. Writing, the effort is to stop. Like I would not stop. Like yesterday, it was 11:30 at night, and I was still writing a skit, and I said, "Okay, I gotta stop now. Because once you're on a roll, you don't want to stop,
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, if I'm in a certain mood or whatever, I can do that. But that happens. I'm the opposite way. The drawing, and I'm starting to carve now too. I've got these elephant ears that I'm doing. And I'm carving. And maybe I'm actually pretty good at carving. I didn't realize I could do that.
That's really great.
I didn't realize I could draw either until 3 years ago. So
you could do stand up and call yourself Dana Carving.
Oh yeah.
I love bad puns. Give me bad puns you want.
You're whittling a little too much off of there.
I love bad puns. Give me the bad puns.
Father jokes.
Yep. My father had some good jokes. He would repeat often, but he had some good jokes.
My dad owned a bar, so he was a good joke teller too. When I grew up as a kid. Well, that's probably where I got my skepticism. Actually, I grew up around people that tried to pull your chain quite a bit.
Right. Well, that happens,
My dad was a skeptic, so. And
my dad, on the other hand, he was very religious, but he had kind of a double thing where he was very funny. He could, use bad words and stuff, and then at the same time, he was an elder in the congregation where we were. So it was funny, He had this kind of. I wouldn't say he was two-faced. It's just that there was the normal dad, and then the preacher dad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of because I've known really religious people, and they got sort of a split personality. It's not a split personality, but they just have a different way of acting when they get when they're talking about certain things.
Well, because we're complex, we're a species of complex people. I mean, we don't have just a one side character. I mean, we're all multifaceted. We have our good days, our bad days. We have our goodness, but we also have our little evilness. We all have this. We're complex. It's not being inconsistent. It's just that we're very complex. That's how many times I say the word complex. I don't know. It's very complex. But you get my drift.
Yeah. It's amalgamating.
Yeah. We're not just one-sided, that's for sure.
No. I mean, I don't know if I've really radically changed my worldview or whatever you want to call it, but and like you were saying before too, I was going to say that atheism doesn't define me. It's not what I'm defined by. I mean, I'm defined by a lot of other things. I mean, not on YouTube, but probably a little bit more like that, but not not in the rest of the world.
Yeah. I'm way too spiritual to. I mean, it's hard to define what spiritual means, but When
Yeah,
it's spiritual, I mean I'm in awe of nature. I have a deep connection to people. It's just not just empirical. My life is not just materialistic. In fact, I'm not a materialist at all when it comes to living. But so I do have a spiritual side, but it's not a religious side. So it's hard to explain, but
I
that's
guess it
how I
depends
feel.
on how you define spiritual. Because I mean, what you're saying there, that would mean that I'm spiritual too, I guess. But
Well, what I call well, you are if you play music, you're spiritual. I'm spiritual means that your spirit connects to things that are not forcibly invisible or religious. It's just that when do you ever cry when you hear a song? Yes, I'm sure you do. I do. Do you ever cry at a movie? It's because emotionally you are touched by the beauty that surrounds us. And it could be just looking at clouds at night. I mean, I just posted on my Facebook. You probably saw it, a sunset here in Arizona, and you cannot not feel. A lot of people don't seem to feel it. I feel it very deeply. I feel connected to the universe. I feel connected to people around me, to you, to people I don't even know. I have empathy for people to a point, of course, because you can't feel what they feel, so you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
pretend that you have full empathy, but you have a level of empathy that makes you feel for people, even if you can't, brag that you feel what they feel. But all that is spiritual. I think music is spiritual.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
one thing,
It touches at our emotions. I
It,
mean,
it touches something that, to use a word that I don't really like, it's something that is, how do you call it? Trying to find the word now. Uh, it transcends.
transcends.
I don't really like that word because it means nothing to me.
Yeah, it
But
is.
I get what people use it for, and I would say yes, music transcends.
I think the big thing about everything in the past, whatever, so many years, ever since language was invented, is the semantics
Yeah,
that comes out of it. I mean, and the people that use it nefariously, or at least they seem to use it nefariously. That's what bothers me because I don't know. You're trying to fool yourself and others at the same time. I think.
yeah. It's like metaphysics. For me, metaphysics and the supernatural, we have no tools to measure or demonstrate the metaphysic. So why even talk about it? Maybe it exists. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist because we can't see it. Yeah, but then why talk about it? All we have is empirical senses, empirical tools, which we use in science. Now there could be a supernatural existence. There could be metaphysics, but we don't know. And that's when I say I don't know. Neither do you. We can't demonstrate or even observe anything that's metaphysics. So we talk about it because we don't know what to say when we don't understand things.
And here's the thing: once we observe it, it's no longer metaphysics.
Exactly. It's like people who want to prove God empirically. If they did, they wouldn't need faith anymore. They would need.
Yeah, exactly.
Supernatural.
Yeah, that I love that word, epistemist.
Yeah. So you have to. It's bad epistemology to count on things we have no tools to understand or demonstrate.
Oh,
But
by the
people
way,
do it because we need to know.
speaking of epistemist, Bionic Dance, Kate, she was the one that coined the word. She made it up one time in one of her videos, and Aaron used it.
Oh yeah.
And then you actually did a blog kind of with
Yes, I did. I did.
with the epistemist. Yeah,
I used to. I used
that's
to.
when I first seen the word from you.
Now I kind of changed my tune, not because faith is a loaded word, and we think of it as either religious faith or trust faith, which is more empirical. I think there is an in between. I think that I'm not so sure anymore that I can't use the word faith without it meaning something that I cannot absolutely know for sure. Um, so I don't know. I'm a little bit confused right now.
Yeah.
On what I think.
When I think of faith, though, it's just a bad word altogether. I don't even like using it in anything. I mean, I don't like the word period.
Well, because it's loaded, right?
Yeah.
It's loaded. So when you say faith, you think religion, you think God, you think, when faith.
I have faith that my girlfriend will get home tonight and not cheat on me. That's
But that's like there's a thing about faith. You have reasonable expectation, which is trust, and then you have not so reasonable expectation that could be faith. jumping off a plane with a backpack, a parachute made by somebody else, you can talk about it as faith. You have a reasonable expectation, you can trust, but there's that little part where it could not open, and there's that median line where it's not religious faith, it's not trust, but it's faith. You see what I mean?
Well, if the plane's on fire, it's just I'm getting the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Take my chances.
Fire, then it's not called faith, it's called falling.
Yeah.
So, we're all different. I'm not so adamant about usage anymore because people use it. The word faith is used so many different ways.
Yeah, it's like I said, the semantics, and then the semantics kicks in or whatever.
The only thing we need to avoid, whenever we use the word faith or other words like that, the only thing we should avoid is to use them in the same phrase for different reasons. Once we become what do you call it? I'm having a hard time finding my words today. Equivocation. If we start using the word faith in a phrase and then the other meaning of faith in the same phrase, if we equivocate like that, we're being dishonest, and that's not right. Even if we don't do it on purpose, it's like the word, light. A feather is light, and a lamp produces light. If you use the same word light in one phrase, it's just equivocation, And
yeah.
At least you shouldn't do that.
Got my keyboard so far away here. I'm doing a stretch here to type something in.
You need to be like Reed in the Fantastic Four, where you can just.
Yeah, there you go. There's the pinky.
Yeah.
I'd still be one finger typing.
It's practical when you have handcuffs and you need to pick your nose. I have a bit on superheroes in my stand-up.
Well, what all comics did you do now for DC, right?
Yeah, I worked for DC and I worked for Nickelodeon.
And which ones? Jetsons was one of them.
I did the Jetsons. I did Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff. But I also did a little bit of Looney Tunes. I did Ed, and Eddie. I was the first one to draw Ed, and Eddie in comic book. For Nickelodeon, I did Cat Dog, the Rugrats, Wild Thornberries, and Rocket Power, which is from Klasky Supo. I also did, and then SpongeBob, yeah.
SpongeBob, yeah.
So, SpongeBob, I've been doing SpongeBob for over 19 years.
Wow. Holy smokes.
So it's sad that I don't have the comic book anymore, which was my main income.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to, try to offer some stories. And I'm not sure.
You wrote the script then for the SpongeBob comics too? Is that it?
Well, I used to write the stories for the SpongeBob comics.
Oh, cool.
And so I used to draw my own stories.
That must mean that you have to write pretty much quite a bit every day then, just for the comic strip then, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I write a lot. Actually, I'm writing a 44-pager right now for France.
Cool.
And I'm writing my stand-up, and I'm writing a SpongeBob episode right now, which will or will not go through. We'll see.
I'll be like, well, maybe I should pick up the guitar for a while. I'll write two more sentences.
I always have my phone on me because, well, like everybody else, but I have a microphone on my phone, an app that does a good job putting taping, and you could put ideas and stuff. And so I always have a notebook or something. I don't let an idea go.
I can't do that tape thing for some reason. I have to write it down or something. I have to.
Yeah, it depends for what, When it comes to stand up, it's better when I tape it vocally, because as I'm talking, I'm ad-libbing, right? So, and then I write down what's great and what's not great, Which is funny because when you actually play your show, when you do your set, the one you worked on so much that you think is really funny might just get crickets, They don't like it. And then all of a sudden you'll see something ad-lib to add to that, and they will laugh at that. And that's what you keep, and you you dump the rest. You know.
My brother, he's been a grip in Hollywood for probably 20 years or whatever, but he rents his house out to younger kids or whatever, that kind of or whatever, and it rents them a room. But a lot of them are doing the comedy thing out there, and most of it's improv now, is what I understand. I mean, that's
well, the comedy club I'm going to be doing my set in is also improv. They do improv.
Oh, okay.
I think it's better to start off Broadway and off Hollywood to start getting a little bit of a buzz.
Yeah, I would say so too, because you're talking
so much pressure in Hollywood, so much pressure in New York.
Yeah, the business out there is really
it's ruthless, you know. Here you start getting a name here, and then eventually you'll end up in Hollywood or in New York City. I specifically like New York City stand-up field. But I love. Don't get me wrong, I love Los Angeles, but New York I love better. You know.
I gotta get. Like I said, I gotta get there. Yeah. Gotta get to Belgium too.
Yeah, Belgium is wonderful. That's one of the good things about Belgium and like Denmark and Norway. You could do a routine in English. People will come, and you don't have to do it in Dutch or in French. You know. I mean, I could do it in French. I did it in French, but this routine here, it's specifically English. We'll yeah, I like your T-shirt. I was going to say I have my sweetheart here.
That's nice. Yeah. Cool.
She's great. Can't wait to see the new one with. She did a great movie about Tonya Harding. You know, the skate champion.
Tonya Harding. You said Tony. Yeah. Not like you said Tony.
and her, well, it's Tonya. Yeah, well, Tanya. We say Tanya, yeah. But T-O. And she did a movie called just Tanya. And it's the story of Tonya Harding, and it's interesting. It's very interesting, but she's great. She was so beautiful in The Wolf of Wall Street, where she played.
The Wolf of Wall Street. I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Played the hot girlfriend.
Yeah. I vaguely remember it, but yeah.
There's something real about her, though. There's something about her that's real. I don't know. I like her.
Yeah, some actors they have that.
Yeah, she's a very great. Harlequin.
Harlequin.
I couldn't see anybody else. No. Yeah. She's a good actress.
No, Shane said hello, Vincent, in the chat.
Well, say hello back. Hello, Shane. I don't have any group chat, but you probably. Actually, I could see it, right? If I click here. No, I don't see it.
Wasn't gonna come up.
So, anyways, yeah. So, but yeah. Hello, everybody that's watching. All three of you.
Could be one now, the way it looks. But how you doing out there?
Yeah, but then we're three. I count three. That's what counts.
We're supposed to have an argument or something. That's how we get the viewers, right?
Yeah, we have to
dumpster fire.
Fight.
I'll put them up.
You see potatoes. I see potatoes. Put them up. Come on. I've been watching Abbott and Costello lately.
Have you?
Yeah, I just love them.
God, I can't. I must have been in the single digits of age when I last watched Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, no, I still think they're good. I mean, you know.
They were a great comedy team, man. They kind of.
Yeah, they had good timing. It was pretty good.
They set the bar.
I haven't seen any of them for like what? I'd say 12, 13 years. And all of a sudden I saw them on YouTube, and I said, oh, you know what? Let's watch one. And of course you start watching one. And I saw some Laurel and Hardy yesterday too. Yeah, some of those guys were great. Too bad they all died, you know, with no money, nothing.
Yeah. It's it's kind of funny how a lot of those stars got kind of right through the coals by their agents and stuff, you know.
Yeah, the ending was not great, but you know they still make us laugh.
Oh yeah. And that what else do what else? What else is there to do but make people laugh? I think that's
Yeah,
the
yeah. I
ultimate.
think that's one of the most wonderful things to do in life is to make people laugh. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on that. I'm
Yeah.
all about the happiness and laughing and
Right, right. And it
just
feels so good, you know. What did I watch last time that made me laugh so much? You know, like Monty Python, a bit of Fry and Laurie, you know,
I could
Blackadder, all those
quote
things.
Monty Python scenes all day long. If you give
I
me the
like a
right
lot of
day.
the British humor. I like a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm into that kind of humor too. I don't know why. I just am.
I love Fry and Laurie, you know, Hugh Laurie that did Dr. House. It's so serious in there, but he's such a funny actor. And Stephen Fry is not only funny, but he's also a brain. I mean, this guy is smart as heck, you know. And so is Laurie. He's really smart, uh, intellectuals, you know, and they can be so funny. So, but I also like the old black and white stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
So that's my story, Morning Glory. I mean, you know, I keep on doing my art, and I work with children now, and their parents
I'm just glad you came on at such short notice. I was like,
yeah. Well, thank you. Well, you know, I thank you for asking me. You know,
yeah, I was one because you kind of had something came up for you, and then we couldn't do it that last time.
yeah, yeah. Well, I've had it's been a crazy life. Like just now, to be honest with you, I came home. I put my pajamas on because I have my pajamas on. SpongeBob pajamas.
Yeah, we're not formal here.
No. And I said, okay, let's do the show. And I haven't eaten yet, so I'm hungry. But it's worth it because I like what you do, and I think you're a cool guy, you know. So it's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. What was I going to say? I can't remember.
I don't know.
My mind wandered off.
What's on top of your head there? I just see a hat. It's probably under your hat.
Could be.
So yeah. There you go.
Well, anyway,
you're losing your hair. I'm losing my hair like crazy.
my hair's gone. I'm actually.
I comb it in a certain way that it looks like I have hair, but I go under my armpit and I have on my head.
I just grab a beret and go. Yeah, there we go.
No, I can't wear hats. It's a funny thing. I've never could wear a hat. Even when I was a kid, I don't like wearing hats. I don't know why.
This is the only one I found that looked good on me because I can.
Yeah, it looks good on you. Yeah. Oh, you look a French, my friend. You look like a French guy. Oh la la, you look like a French man. You are missing. You know what you are missing? I show you what you are missing. You are missing a baguette and a bottle of wine.
But you see, I am French Canadian. So we go into the wilderness up north and we hunt for the beaver.
Yes. French Canadians sound differently. I have a family. My French Canadian sisters. I still love them with all my heart, and we talk. They're on. One of them is on Facebook, so we get to talk. Her name is Carole, and I love her with all my heart. In fact, I loved her. You know, I was in love with her when I was a kid. We still stayed friends, and she's a great person, and I love her accent. It's very different, you know. French is more, it's a little bit more dry, and Canadian French is more. And what's great with Canadian French is they use old words.
Yeah. Because I heard Emily, she is from France, from Paris, and she said Canadians, I can't even understand them.
Yeah, well, a French guy from Paris would go to Montreal and he may not understand them. I mean, Montreal is relatively, but if you go into Quebec a little bit more in the backwoods, their Canadian is amazing. I love it, but it's so dialectical that a French person would not understand them, and vice versa. By the way, a lot of them understand the French guy, but they have an advantage is that if they watch French news, the French Canadian news still have a very proper French, so they're used to hearing the French. But the French don't have French Canadian.
That's what it is. So
French Canadian, which is musical and wonderful, and the people are just absolutely wonderful. You just have to love them.
Kind of like Minnesota and Texas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess you're right. That would be the case, right? And yeah, some it's like that, in King of the Hill, that guy that he talks like, what's his name again? That you can never. And you know what's scary is at one point I started understanding him. I said, "Holy cow, I'm starting to understand, dude. I got a problem now."
Well, that's interesting too, where our mind kind of interprets sound like that, because how you make up the lyrics for a song or whatever, and you find out years later that they're not the right ones.
Yeah. Well, that's funny, right? There's even on YouTube, you have those things where they have the real lyrics and what people understood, But it's funny, but it's beautiful though. Language is it's so rich. It's all about usage. Definitions follow usage, and then they lose their definition because the language evolves. And if in 2,000 years we read somebody who says "I'm fed up," they'll really think that it meant that they ate too much.
Is there like a correlation of words being pejorative and then going, then the rebels take it back and then becomes a pejorative again when they get too cocky with it? And
Could be.
I think a lot of words do that,
Yeah. Words change, their usage change.
Yeah.
And hence their definition changes.
I suppose it all depends on experiences and all that, because that's why you have words meaning something different from each culture, So, yeah.
What we have to realize is that words have no meaning.
Yeah, basically.
In themselves, they mean nothing. They only mean something because of the usage that we have.
Don't you take my definitions away?
Yeah. Definitions follow usage. Definitions is the last part of a word.
Yeah.
Words will be used, then the dictionaries will define what that usage is or the different usages. And then that word will fall away. The word awful used to mean awesome. It was from the word awesome, awful. If you said hundreds of years ago, "This is awful," people would say, "Oh yeah, it's wonderfully awful, isn't it?" Because that's what it meant, awesome. It's not even close to meaning that today.
No.
In fact, it means the contrary, which means the usage has changed the word so much that the very definition has nothing to do with its semantic. It's for semantics.
So I'm trying to figure out what would make that word do that. Is that because awful all of a sudden meant a negative thing, and then
maybe remember the words in the 80s? I don't know, how old you are, but I remember in the 80s, wicked meant really cool. You'd say, "Wow, that's wicked."
Yeah.
Right? If that would have continued, wicked would have ended up meaning defined as cool.
Well, you got gay. Look at
it. Gay,
I've been happy even in the 20s, I believe.
Yeah, well, not so long ago, even Nat King Cole would sing. He would use the word gay. I'm going to use my back scratcher right now. Sorry about that.
Gotta have one of them.
Back orgasm there. So yes, I didn't say I had the orgasm back there. I said I had it back. I don't want to scare your
Don't scare me.
The crowd. But yeah, so words change. Wicked could have ended up meaning cool, but actually it went back to wicked. Go figure.
And the thing is, everybody's trying to search for that. Take a word and rewrap it around and make it into one word that means a lot. It means a whole bunch of different things.
Right. What bothers me is when in articles and stuff, they try to bring you back to the meaning of the word the way it used to mean. A lot of people do that with biblical words. They'll say, "But this word means this." I know that. Yeah, it meant that 2,000 years ago. It doesn't mean that at all today. It has nothing to do with the word today.
And trying to explain it to somebody that just has that bias on it, or whatever, it's like, well, no.
Right. So it's very hard. Well, I mean, some Bible scholars will be the first ones to say, yes, that's true, and but Bible scholars are not very liked in Christian communities.
I remember the first time that I actually said, it was probably in my 20s, and I actually read the Bible. And for some reason, I had talents as being your person, your talent, or whatever. I didn't realize that was actually freaking money currency back then, or whatever, until way later. But I never really paid attention.
It's interesting to remember what the words mean at the time. I'm just saying that to when you give an example like that, you can't say that today that has that same meaning.
Yeah. No, you can't. No, you can't. There's no way we even know the context of what they were
Right,
thinking.
right.
You know, it's the words change. Like look at how the words change just in 20 years. In 20 years time, the words change.
Words are organic.
Yeah.
They follow what people use them for.
Yeah.
Like I said, in themselves, they have absolutely no meaning. The word book has no meaning until the codex was created, the first one to not be a scroll and to be a book. It turns out that now we say book, we know what it means. It means a book. It's different than scrolls, but you know, it's the usage that gave its definition. But now you can use book for something else, like bookmaker. You know, a bookie will be the guy who keeps the books, but it's more. It doesn't talk about the book itself, the codex. You know, so meaning the words change. You know, their usage change.
Yeah, real soon too.
Sometimes look at Latin. It gave birth to French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, and other languages I don't have in mind right away. And those languages are all so different. But there was never a baby that was born all of a sudden Italian. Ma che bella ragazza. No.
I don't think so.
Language, like people, evolve. You know, there's not. It's like if you color something from blue to red, and you'll have purple, right? When does it become purple? You know, what baby turned out to start speaking Italian? None. It's just little by little, you know, language evolves. That's evolution. Yeah. That's true for humanity.
Especially when the cultures are, I think the internet's changing that a little bit, where words are going to be less, I don't know, maybe not. It's hard to say. I think words will get less.
Words will always evolve, always. Some words will pretty much stay, you know, written in stone, but they can change on a like this, you know, because of a political issue, because of a religious, you know. There's a lot of things that are not well defined today, but that we still use, you know.
And some people in the semantic game are using it just to be generalizing and either for defense in the future argument or
the time you see dishonesty is when there's equivocation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When people use like people will say you don't have faith in God, yet you have faith in an airplane. Mm-hmm. They're using two different meanings of faith there. They're equivocating. Yep. It's not the same meaning to mean believing in the unseen, you know, the Hebrew 11:1 faith, and then faith trusts reasonable expectation. It's just being dishonest. You can't do that.
And here's the question, though: are they being dishonest without knowing they're being dishonest?
Some, yeah, some are dishonest,
and that's why I like. Well, you know,
some of them are honestly they just repeat what they heard. But some, when you talk to them, they know you're stop playing that game, buddy. You're not going to win this one because you're just equivocating.
They got their mic drop thing that they think they got.
Yeah, they don't have the I'll pick up that mic before it drops on the floor. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I do like hearing debates once in a while, but
yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, I used to like to debate. Now I kind of like. I rather a good conversation. You know, you're gonna have fun with Dr. Jones because he's so great. He's not somebody that thinks he's right. You know, he's a seeker, like most of us are. He's a good guy. I like him. You know.
I'm still here.
So yeah, you're gonna have fun with him. He's a good guy. I sometimes disagree with him, but you know, that's part of the fun, right? We don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah,
but he's a good man. He's a really good man. I love him dearly. You know.
I watched the NGCs last night, and Dr. Jones and the Lavender Lady. They got pretty passionate, but you know, they were fine with it. You know, and
passionate, yeah.
And some people in the chat just thought that was a little bit like he was being rude to her, and it's like, no, not really. That's just Just the way.
No, he's a passionate man, and usually I think it surprises people because in general he's very calm, you know. But all of a sudden his passion shows, and then he'll start
Oh yeah.
heating up.
I
He's
hate to
a
see
great
me get
man.
all huffy.
You
Because
know
I hold
what
it back.
would be great is my friend Stephen Hoyt. That is often on the show.
Okay.
He's one of the smartest people I know. If you can get him on your show, you'll be spoiled. Uh, and I have vehemently disagreed with him. We have treated each other as an asshole. We got to the point of almost blocking each other. But I love the man, and I have to say, he's often right, and I've often come to his conclusions. And he's a Christian, but he's not a Christian God for him is not Yahweh or Jesus itself. Jesus is, I think, his go-to example, but discussing with him is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's often on the show, and I think sometimes I like writing. I like chatting with him rather than listening to the show because he doesn't always come through as he does when he writes. Really smart man, Stephen Hoyt. Keep that in mind. If you want, I'll send you his.
Yeah. I'd love to.
His Facebook is amazing, and you will find yourself totally disagreeing with him, fighting with him, and you know what? And what happens? Oh yeah, you're right.
You have to whisper
So
it down.
annoying. He's so annoying that way. If he hears this show, he's gonna laugh because he knows that we annoy each other. But there's a lot we annoy each other, but in a very constructive way. And I have to say, I have learned from him more than he has learned from me. No doubt about that. But he's a smart man, and he's a friend of Dr. Jones, and he's often on the show. You've probably seen him.
I might have. I haven't really watched. Just recently, I started watching the show again.
He's
I kind of fell away from it, but
and another guy I really love, and he doesn't always agree with Stephen Hoyt, and they sometimes fight, but it's Ozzy.
okay.
He's amazing. He's like, so they both have sometimes contradicting things, but you get from both of them a lot of information. You make up your own mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Not always either or. Sometimes you make up your own idea from what you glean from each other.
I'm not much of a person to speak out. I like listening to things. Probably because my dad told me one time that there's this one guy that would always sit around. He never say anything, but once he did say something, everybody would listen.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, though. I'm not that. I'm a ham, so I talk too much. Look, you got me on the show, and I said I don't know how long we've been talking, but so far I've seen a lot of things that mean totally nothing. I can fill the program. Don't worry about me.
I think I'm gonna have to work on Dr. Jones a little bit harder because he got. I actually read a comment and the thing I didn't even realize he was doing that. So
yeah, he's great. I've been on a show quite a few times, sometimes with Aaron.
Yeah.
And we had fun. We had fun. We had fun.
I think he's an asset to what we need to have for building bridges between the theist and atheist thing.
Oh, you mean Dr. Jones? Yeah.
He's
definitely I would call him a bridge between.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's definitely the bridge. I remember seeing the show before I was ever on it and everything. I used to watch him and I was like, dude, this guy is great. Him and Bob. Holy, Bob is like a philosopher, mega philosopher. He's great and he's so simple. He doesn't even take himself. He's also,
I jam with him.
The guy is a genius and he's also a musician. But he doesn't take himself very seriously. But both of them, Bob and Dr. Jones, they put on a good show. And unfortunately, it's like your show. There's not a lot of people that watch it. Yeah. But it's a rich show. But a lot of people come back to it. Like, they'll come and look at it again. And
what it is if it was just a discussion or whatever between people like that. That's people kind of fall off of that and go, I don't know.
Well, I think sometimes the place is a bit too intellectual for a lot of people. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I'm not saying that in a good way either. It's just that sometimes it's heavy stuff, and People need, funny kittens and, people who fall on banana peels.
Fight.
Yeah, fight. The show was very calm in general, except the one with Sai Ten Cake, which was, pretty nasty.
Yeah,
It wasn't nasty. It was just
making rounds just recently too on some channels.
Sai Ten Cake. He's
presuppositional, yeah.
And he's hated by all the atheists I know and all the Christians I know. But he's I actually like the guy. He's got a good sense of humor. He'll take criticism if it's done a certain way. If it's funny, he's funny himself. And I watched his movie, Answer the Fool, where he really explains his beliefs that are, to my point of view, totally crazy, right? However, it makes sense in his logical, bubble. I use that word logical bubble a lot, which means that things are intrinsically coherent until the bubble pops on reality, on things that. But you can have a logical bubble like Jack and the Beanstalk is a logical bubble where it's logical that, you get gold eggs and you go over the clouds because in that fantasy, everything is coherent. Now, does Jack and the Beanstalk hold in the edges of logic and reality? No. But in itself, intrinsically, it works. And I've come to understand why and how Cy Tenberg and Kate thinks. And I get him. I like the guy. I think he's sincere, too. A lot of people think he's not. I think he is. I don't agree with him.
I think he believes what he's saying.
Yeah, he believes what he says. He presupposes that God wrote the Bible.
Yeah.
And I presuppose men did that claimed that there was a God. So we both presuppose something. I think that if you believe in God, you have to believe in the men first that wrote about God, right?
I think I would use an analogy more like walking into a whorehouse with a fistful of hundreds, and then that'd be way better than Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah, that would be pretty different than Jack and the Beanstalk.
But of course, with my luck, I won't get anywhere anyway with that. So
yeah, but anyways, there's one thing that is the same. Jack is the stock. It's stock. It's still the same. So anyways, yeah, so I don't know. I try to understand people. I don't have to agree with them, but I like to understand how they and if they think intrinsically coherently for them, I give them a pass. I mean, I'm nobody who gives a pass to anybody. I don't have that authority.
I just find it fascinating that people do think way different than I do.
Well, that's a good. I like the way you said that. I think that's for everybody the same thing. We think that we are reasonable. We reason well.
Yeah.
So if people reasons differently, we think they reason unwell.
Yeah.
And that's not true. We could be wrong. We all have assumptions.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, what else do we have? We have to. What we have to do is verify that everybody else exists outside of us. And
right.
That's what we do every day.
I was brought up a Christian, right?
Yeah.
So we both have assumptions that are often cultural, upbringing, personal bias and preferences. And, we believe the sources we trust. And those sources could be as dumb as they can or as intelligent as they can. But if we trust them, we'll believe what we believe to be true.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things that I've looked at and they've changed where because it's like, oh wow, something comes up that says it's not the case.
Yeah, and I'm continually correcting myself, and I will die not knowing the truth about everything. What I will know will probably stay very trivial. Like I know an apple is edible. I know that when I poop, it stinks. Those are things that I know. Otherwise, for all the rest, I only understand, and it's debatable whether I understand well or not well. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking about stinky poop right now for some reason.
I knew that was going to work. I knew that when I said stinky poop, it was going to stick. Oh,
Oh man.
but yeah, we know trivial things. What we know is trivial, so we do know things. But can we say we know about the universe anything? No, we just understand. And a lot of it has to do with our prior assumptions.
Well, then on the other foot, can we say that we won't understand?
No, I think that there's some things we'll never understand. But there's a progress in trying to understand. That's why we call ourselves seekers. We seek the truth.
Yeah.
Will we find it? Not sure. And if we find a truth that fits our bias and our understanding, is it really the truth? Not really. Can't be said.
Yes. And I mean, there's so many. I've gone through life always thinking about different scenarios about what the universe actually could be.
Yeah.
And
my conclusion is I don't know. I will probably never know. But there's a few things I know. I know that science claims that the Big Bang happened. My deepest gut feeling is that there couldn't be one beginning, and it has to be that the universe is cyclic. That's my opinion, which is absolutely not scientific. However, I've read a lot of scientists that it's coming back, the idea that the universe is cyclic. Because it would make sense, right? There's no beginning because there's nothing. It was never nothing.
It does, but it's hard to conceptualize too at the same time.
Yeah. But if you think about it, like, for example, with kids, I ask them, do you know what eternity is? Like infinity. And they'll say no. And I said, let me explain to you very simply. I take a circle. I say, okay, look at this. Like you see here, right? I say, you see this circle? Where does it start and where does it end? It doesn't. That's infinity. Infinity is when there's no beginning, no end. I believe the universe, like the planets, everything that is in a vacuum is spherical. So I truly believe that we live in a universe that is cyclic, that begins and ends, begins and ends, begins and ends. And when somebody that's Christian will say to me, it doesn't make sense, I said, you believe in a God that always existed. What are you talking about? Of course it makes sense. Even you can understand that because you believe in a God that had no beginning and no end.
Just tell them it's a really big circle.
Yeah. Or sphere, either one, right?
Yeah. And actually, could that be circular and it's just expanding out all the time too?
Yes. Well, actually, I think it was it's Stephen Hawking, right? That said that it's like putting a bunch of dots on a balloon and then blowing it up, and the dots.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we don't know, and some of them are just super. What I do know is that there has never been any good idea about nothing being devoid of everything. There has to be something.
Well, the thing is, if we did know everything about the universe, then what else is there?
It's like if they say to me, "You believe that everything came from nothing," I said, "So do you? You believe that God created in hilo, right? Which means that with nothing, you have to have some. Like when a carpenter makes a table, right? You can't say that table came from nothing. It came from wood, from cutting and putting wood together. It came from pre-existing material. If God created the universe, he had to start from pre-existing material. You can't do something ex nihilo. You can't do something from nothing. So God or not God, either way, the universe cannot exist from nothing. It's impossible.
Yeah, I kind of did a little video on circular reasoning. Kind of, that's one of the songs that I did.
Yeah,
but
and I think I saw that actually. Yeah,
you can demonstrate.
So we're at the same. What I'm saying is that creationists, evolutionists, we're on the same level when it comes to the creation of the universe. We have no freaking idea.
The only difference is that the creationist says they know.
That's the only difference.
Yep.
Is pretend they know what they cannot know.
Yeah.
And cannot demonstrate. And then they say you can't demonstrate evolution, which, by the way, you can.
Silhouette said, God's a triangle, duh.
Yeah. Yeah, God is a little bit like, those prostitutes when you ask them, what's your name? It's whether you know. It's whatever you want to call me. Well, I want to call you Linda. Then it's Linda. I want to call you Yahweh. Then it's Yahweh. I want to call you Buddha. Then it's Buddha. I want to call you Vishnu. Then it's Vishnu. It's a little bit like that, isn't it?
Think of all the years that they had to.
You're paying me. You're paying me to to do my thing on you. You can call me what you want.
I just always wondered, like, what was the first guy that just woke up one day and said, "God exists"?
It was a guy that was
guy.
very, 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 very annoyed that he couldn't find answers to questions he had, and he had to invent somebody that he could say, "This is my authority."
Actually, I got a theory on how it started. A mother had a kid, and the dad died, and she wanted the kid to feel better, so she said, "You'll see him in heaven," and that's how it started. And perpetuated from there.
And the kid was looking in heaven all the time and couldn't see him.
Yeah. Or the mom died right after that, and the kid was by itself and had to grow up by himself. And
then he started look up in the sky. He says, "I see nothing. I'm an atheist."
Yep.
Yeah. Atheism is nothing.
It's going to keep my foreskin, man.
It amounts to nothing. It's a non-something. So what does that mean? Nothing.
A non-something. Non-something. Yeah. People don't even understand what they're saying when they say nothing. It's because I remember contemplating that. It's like even if you're dead, you're doing something, so you can't be ever doing nothing.
Nothing is nothing.
Yeah.
It's the absence of everything.
And that's
simple.
That'll never happen. And
so you tell a kid, you say to a kid, "What's in this glass?" And he'll say nothing. And you say, "Do you really think there's nothing? How about atoms? How about air? Is there air in this glass?" "Oh yeah. See, there's not. It's not nothing. There's something in this glass. There's air. There's light. There's protons, neutrons. It's in this glass, and yet it looks like there's nothing in it. Nothing does not exist. That's my intention.
There could be 3 billion universes in that glass."
Yeah, exactly. It's like Men in Black. Remember with the dog that had that little universe around his neck.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. That movie was pretty. I like that movie.
I liked both of them. I thought both of them were great.
Yeah, Will Smith is a good actor, though.
Yeah. And, it was good. They did well together. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is good too.
Oh, yeah. How could I not mention him? Sorry, Tommy. You'll ever forgive me. Which one? My brother worked with Will Smith on Bad Boys, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's done.
That's
Puerto
a good
Rico. Movie. Yeah, that was a pretty cool movie.
That was a cool movie. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a classic now. Yeah.
And don't quit dating us, man. Yeah, I turned 50 last March, so.
Really? Hey, you're in March. I'm in February. I'm going to turn 60 in February.
Okay.
60 years old. I'm going to be an old man.
I'm catching up to you, man.
I'm going to be an old guy that farts and, has a diaper. We start with a diaper in life and we end with a diaper,
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, it depends. Oops, I crapped my pants. Remember that from SNL?
I think so, yeah. Yes, I do.
Oops, I crapped my pants. How do you know about that, darling? I know. And I just did.
Every time I hear SNL now, for some reason, because I haven't watched it for so long, I think of John Belushi walking out of the crime scene or whatever with white powder all over his nose. He goes, yeah, we don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Laughing, personally, Laughing was, I thought, was better than SNL.
Laughing, yeah.
Laughing had 30-second jokes, 1-minute jokes. It was so fast. The problem with SNL for me when it started in the 70s, it was like, holy cow, they're just, pulling on a joke and making it last 20 minutes when it doesn't deserve that, I still look at Rowan and Martin's Laughing today, and I think that is just pure genius. Pure genius.
Were the Smothers Brothers on Laughing? Because I was a little bit young for that one.
No, they were at the same time. Actually, you had the Laughing, and then the Smothers Brothers Happy Hour, that became the Glen Campbell Happy Hour because they were banned for being too political and anti-religious, um, which wasn't really the case. But they were really against the Vietnam. I think Tom and Dick they were the greatest. They were the funniest. I love the Smothers Brothers so much, but they still came on as invitees, even though it was their show on the Glen Campbell show, which had Pat Paulson, you know, Pat Paulson for president, and you had also a bunch of great people in there. It was a great show, the Glen Campbell show, and Glen Campbell is amazing. So, big fan of him. I
Yeah.
really was sad that he died, but he wasn't feeling too good. It was time for him to go, I guess. You know that Alice Cooper from our neck of the woods, he's a friend of Glen Campbell. You wouldn't think so, right?
Alice, he's
I
pretty
was
down to earth guy, actually.
I think he's amazing. I mean, he looks like a 17-year. He has the body of a 17-year-old. He's like 70 years old. He rocks like nobody. And he was the show before Deep Purple, which is one of my favorite bands. But man, he killed it. I mean, Alice Cooper was like, oh my God.
I remember as a teenager when I was into my Timothy Leary experimental days, listening to Alice Cooper albums all the way through forever and having fun.
I liked him. My parents banned him because it was too demonic for them, which is ironic because he's a very, very he's very Christian. I mean, he believes in God, and he's not at all satanic like people seem to portray him. And the way he looks is a show, you know. But his show is absolutely amazing. It's magical. If you go see him today, you're going to be like, I mean, he gets.
Do I remember right that his father was a Baptist preacher or something?
Yeah. He's married to the same wife. He's the guy here in Phoenix. He has such a great reputation. In fact, I went to his school to offer volunteer work for his school. Great people there. They take care of kids. I mean, he's amazing. He's really amazing. He's a really great human being, and he's a good rock star. You know, who doesn't know Alice Cooper, right? And so
I can't think of
hero. He's a world star, and he's a local hero. Yeah.
You know what? I got to tell you this, Vincent. Last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, my brother asked me, "So what's Jesus? He was crucified. What does that mean?" That's how little we knew about God in our lives growing up.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't know. What'd you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, but in America, can you imagine growing up there? I did. I knew it. Well, I didn't really know the crucifix. I just know that there's people that went to church. I didn't think they believe shit like young Earth creationism, though.
You know, we humans, we built myths in our lives. You know, I'm not saying he didn't exist, right? Yeah. Nor do I say that he wasn't crucified. What I'm saying is that all of these are stories that we have used to build our understanding of the universe, of life, of how to live together, how to share things together. These are all stories, you know, the Greek mythology, the Bible, the Quran. It's all stories, you know. None of them are provable or demonstrable, but they have inspired people to be better, you know. Sometimes worse, let's be honest, but mostly better. So it's not worthless. You know? Oh, sorry about that.
Good night.
You.
What is Gesundheit? Is that low German or is that high German?
That what?
Gesundheit. Is that?
Yeah, that's German, right?
Yeah, I believe it's German. I think it's low German.
I don't know what how it translates to.
My dad and my grandmother spoke low German, like the Mennonites would speak.
Oh yeah, right. They still do, right? In America, the Mennonites still speak German.
The Mennonites do. They think their villages or whatever.
Yeah.
My grandma didn't speak English until she was 14, I think.
Oh yeah. And she was German too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I came to Canada from Belgium when I was only 3. So I went to Toronto schools in English, of course, which is, a difference of accent with Americans, but otherwise it's okay. Yeah, it's still American taught. So I was lucky to be brought up until I was 14, both in French and English. And I never lost. I still write for France in French. And I still, in fact, on my Facebook, you might have noticed that lately I've been translating my posts both in English and French. Because I do have a lot of French friends that are on my Facebook. So to be fair, I try to.
But when I think of Canada, I think of people talking like this, eh?
Yeah. Well, my dad used to slap me in the face because when I was brought up in Toronto, right, in Canada, and then after that, in a place called Hawkesbury, L'Orignal, which is more French Canadian, but still in Ontario, and he used to get so mad at me because I said "hey" every 5 seconds. And so, time goes by. I move to France. I come back to Canada, see my friends there, and I'm surprised at how much they say "hey" every 5 minutes. It's like, oh yeah, eh? Yeah, because that "eh," yeah, and "eh." I'm like, wow,
a lot of people in the United States will say instead of "hey." That was their defense for it when I went to Canada.
Yeah, but we say "eh." That's true, Canadian.
Well,
I'm sorry, I just yawned on your show, but it's not because of it's because it's been a heavy day and I'm tired. But I'm writing a lot at night.
We've gone way long anyway. I think somebody stopped out here anyway. That you're outside or whatever, and I told them that the live stream going. So
shooting the breeze, man.
We'll probably be starting to jam. And
that's right.
But anyway, I think I'm gonna shut down then, Vincent, because it's almost 10 o'clock here. So yeah, long time.
That's cool. I'm sorry I was late today. I didn't realize I was being stupid.
I don't think maybe I put your channel there too, but I got your Twitter and your Facebook thing on.
My Twitter, I'm a little bit more political and but. But on my Facebook, you've noticed everything changed. It's very politically correct.
I avoid Facebook because I don't know. I'd rather not have certain people. I'm known too well on Facebook. It's hard to. I'm more anonymous on YouTube anyway, or Twitter.
Yeah, I like Facebook, but I don't mind confrontation.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't mind it, but it's just that my Facebook friends so far, I have about 1,000, and so far everything's fine. I mean, there's no fight, no debate. It's a lot about my art more than anything else, and I try to be.
I want to get your artist opinion on this. These are the mushrooms that I've been carving.
Oh, cool. That looks cool. Huh. That's carving, right?
Yeah, I carved a.
Nice. Oh, yeah, I see it. I like it.
I need somebody to paint it, though, because I'm not that. I'm getting better at mixing my colors or whatever.
It's good as it is right now.
But, I had a tree over here, and I let them dry for like a year or whatever. So so that thing takes about a year to make.
It's dry by now.
But
it's dry because that's your name, right? Johnny DriveBYE. I told you like that fun.
That works, man. But anyway,
nice talking to you, buddy.
Yeah, nice talking to you. Links for his channel and his Twitter are going to be in the description.
Okay.
And DriveBYE out of here. Take care, everybody.
Take it easy, man.
Ow.
Fun doing.